right, everybody, welcome to the Superpro Podcast, the heartbeat of home service excellence. I'm Roland Leitenberg. I'm your host, also co-founder of Housecall Pro, and I'm an advocate for all the hardworking tradespeople out there, helping make our homes better, safer, more comfortable. Through Housecall Pro, I've had the chance to help hundreds of thousands of pros just like you, helping you guys achieve more, stress less, and redefine success in our industry. Today, I'm super excited. We've got Melissa Arvizu. She's on the show. She's the owner of Arvizu Commercial Cleaning. You guys have survived all kinds of personal stuff. You've thrived in global challenges like COVID. You've got 15 folks. Your goal is to hit 330K revenue this year. You've been growing. You've been facing a lot of different things. I'm super curious. You're a lady pro. You're a super pro. You're in our communities. I'm excited to have you. Thanks for joining the show, Melissa.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here. I love Housecall Pro, so I'm happy to be a part of this.
No, and we were just talking before the show, but you've got a lot of fun things we're gonna share. But talk to me a little bit about what was the moment when you're thinking, okay, I need to go start my own business. I'm gonna go build this out. What was that moment, and what made you go off on your own?
Well, I had started my business 16 years ago, and it was really a side hustle. I started it when I had kids, and as you, a new father, knows, children are expensive, and all of a sudden, I needed a little bit more money, and so I started cleaning some offices at night, and I did that for a long time, and several years. And then about 6 years ago, my life changed. I had a lot of things with my part-time job and my side hustles that I was doing changed, and I realized that I really needed to grow my business. And so that's when I went from just doing commercial and having a couple people that worked for me to I'm going to add residential. And my business really just exploded from there.
So what percent would you say your business was, and then what is it now in terms of like split maybe between residential and commercial?
So before 2019, it was probably 10% residential. I would do a little bit here and there, 90% commercial. Now it's more along the lines of 65 to 70% residential, and the rest is commercial. So it really flipped. When I named my business Arvizu Commercial Cleaning, which is a very long name, my website is also that. Yeah. I didn't really envision having to transfer that to residential because it's a mouthful.
Yeah, I feel like most people will start on the residential side and then add a commercial side of the business, and you kind of like flip the script there a little bit. I feel like it's clear there's not just like one way to do it or one path.
Well, I had no desire really to do residential. I felt like it was it's more high maintenance. You have to manage the very intricate can't think of the word, but the necessities of your clients, in their homes. Offices tend to be a little bit more broad, so I wasn't interested in really doing that. But when I decided I'm going to grow my business, I went out and I hit it hard. I started networking. I went to Chamber of Commerce events, women business owner events. I just wanted to get my name out there. I kind of looked at it like speed dating. I would go in. I've always been really good at talking to people and being friendly. But I was like, here's my business card. I have a cleaning business. Let me know if you're interested or you want an estimate. And every event I left, I had a house cleaning job. And I was like, all right, well, okay. And then it just really rolled from there, and word of mouth and everything else. And so I took it as a blessing. I really had a lot of faith and felt like if I went out there and worked hard, it was going to work out for me. And so I was like, well, then I guess my path is more towards residential, and it's been awesome.
And you have a lot of employees. You've hired a lot of folks. Where are you finding people? Where do you find good employees, and how do you convince them to stay with your company for as long as they do?
So initially, I only hired people that I knew or people that were referred to me. Because my name is on the business, is on their shirts, is that's my family name. That's my name. I wanted people that I could trust. I'm sending them into homes. I need to know that they're going to be okay. And I used to say I wouldn't hire anybody that I wouldn't trust to leave my children with. And I really meant that when I told clients that. And it's still true. So the tagline for my business is, we only hire the best. Now you can too. So I try to pay above industry standards. I have mostly other moms that work with me. So the schedule for residential is, for our residential services is good for their schedule because they want to be able to drop off their kids and pick them up at the end of the day, just like I want to. And so I try to create a place where I'm not demanding anything of my staff that I wasn't willing to do myself. And so that seems to work pretty good.
No, I love that little golden nugget, which is, I'm not asking anyone to do anything I wouldn't do myself. And I think, great business owners always just take out the trash if they need to, right? Whatever it is, like, they do it, they jump on it. And I feel like if you're not willing to do that, people it'll be harder to get the respect from folks that know that, Roland doesn't do that, so why would I do that? It's like, no, I've done it for a long time, and I'm asking you to do the same thing that I can do and have done. And it fosters definitely a different kind of conversation and also relationship with your employees too.
Yeah, I mean, they look forward to working with me. I try to do little perks. I'll bring them Starbucks if we're working together that day. I tend to be at jobs where we're doing a big move out or something that's more intense. I try not to make my staff feel like they're dealing with the worst part of the job. But it's tough. There's always going to be people that find something better or think that they can go out and do this job on their own. I think that's probably one of the challenges that I've run into is with all of the systems that I have in place. I sometimes think that I make owning a cleaning business look really easy. And so I've had some people that go, "Wait, I can go and do this myself, and I can see that you're charging this much money, and I don't feel like I should only be getting this much percentage of it. I think I'm going to go and try to do this myself." And they really see that, yes, I come to those big jobs, but 90% of my job is here in my office, dealing with the phone calls and the scheduling and everything else, dealing with that hard part of being a business owner that sometimes seems like it never ends. I work 24 hours a day.
Yeah, it's the saying, you give it the 9 to 5 to pick up the 5 to 9, and it's just like, you're constantly kind of working. What about sort of like your philosophy around, the way that you're engaging with clients? What are some tips maybe that you can give to some other folks that have worked particularly well for you in kind of gaining the trust? Because you've done that really, really well.
So that really was my mentality when I first started pushing the residential portion of my business, because I felt like that was where I could grow. And Tucson's, in the surrounding areas, Marana and Oro Valley, it's a big city, and there were already tons of people doing cleaning. There's, chain type places and lots of individuals. And so I was like, how am I going to separate myself? How am I going to be something special that people will want? And it came down to customer service. I was going to separate myself from everyone else by the level of customer service that I could provide. I had worked in other industries. I worked in printing and graphics before that. And so I had a lot of experience with customer service. And so I felt like I could bring that to this industry where I've told other people, it feels like the bar is so low. Like I would go to an estimate and the people would be like, "Wow, you showed up." And I'm like, "Really? Is that the bar that's set right now?" And so then you add to it the amazing communication aspects that using Housecall Pro adds. and just being friendly, having a good website, having good communication skills. That was my goal. Excellent customer service. And I really am proud of how I've carried that through all these years.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people are like, well, what's the business model? What can I do to differentiate? Do I get there faster? Do I have a guarantee or whatever? But sometimes just old-fashioned good customer service, doing what you say that you're going to do and do it over and over again earns that trust. I think with cleaning, it's very important because you're going in someone's home, not just once to do,
Yeah.
an install of an HVAC unit, but like every single week. And, you probably see some pretty fun stuff in people's homes too. And people trust you with that, and so yeah.
Well, and trying to lay out those expectations early on, I didn't always do a walkthrough. It wasn't bad for me. It worked out okay. But I would try to, on that very first visit, whether me or my staff would go through the house and make sure that our expectations were the same as the customers. What are you expecting us to do in this room, and what do we typically do in this area? And make sure that those meet, because we don't want you to be disappointed when we've busted our hump to get your house looking great, and the one thing that you really wanted us to do or not do, we did or didn't do. And so that's where, again, that great communication comes in, where set those expectations from the very beginning, and then your customer's always happy because you know what they want.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the difference between the expectations, that you have and that the customer has, like you gotta like make those as close as you can, because therein lies the 1-star review, that you see pop up.
And inevitably, the 1-star review comes because you missed that one thing that was their pet peeve. Meanwhile, you did everything else that you were supposed to, and that goes for any industry. So, and I tell my people, don't scrub the grout if you didn't get the spot on the toilet. You know what I mean? Get those the main things first, and then you can go back on those details.
Yeah, definitely. So, as you've been growing your business, you came across Housecall Pro in 2019. What happened in 2019 when you're like, hold on a minute, I need to look for something, or I need to put something in place? Like, what was it?
This is one of my favorite stories to tell. So I had just started that networking push. I'm going to get out there and talk to people. And I was in a women's business owners group, which was great because I was talking with other women that were dealing with similar things to me as I was. And I was telling them, I want customer service to be the best. When I call Xfinity or Comcast, my cable provider, and I have an appointment scheduled, they send me this text message that says, your technician, Roland, is, 2 hours away. You can expect him at this time. And I said, that would be amazing if I could do that. Probably cost thousands of dollars to do that. And one of the women in the group said, I don't know, the guy that owns the HVAC company that I use, he sends a text message out. I think it's automated. I'm gonna call him and find out who he uses, and I'll get back with you. So she put me in touch with Chris Plunkett, who owns Tailored Mechanical, which is he's another super pro in our group. And Chris Plunkett, I can give all my thanks to for turning me on to Housecall Pro. And so pretty much within a month or two of me deciding to offer residential services, I was introduced to Housecall Pro. And it literally was absolutely the perfect, time for me to discover it, because I started utilizing it with my commercial clients, but it totally drove the growth of my residential portion of my business.
That's a fun story just to hear, like when another pro shares with another pro, like, oh yeah, this is what it is, in different industry too. And sometimes
And it was that simple little on my way text.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
That's what got me going. And to find out I could start with Housecall Pro for such a small amount of money, I was like, wow, this is great.
Yeah. I mean, part of what we try to do is make sure that our pros look bigger, better, stronger than they actually are, and more professional and all the things. because I think for a lot of small business, technology for so long has always been out of reach and always been like, oh man, must cost $1 million. Sure, like Molly Maids has it, but they're a massive company, they
Right.
can invest in that kind of stuff. And so I really like the kind of analogy of arming the rebels, with great with great technology. So you started using Housecall Pro. You are where you are now. What would you have told baby Melissa? Hey, do this. Do this. Don't forget to do this. Well, like what would you tell your younger self?
Well, I would say that when it came to Housecall Pro, one of the things is I didn't rely as much on reviews, and I really appreciated that about a year or so into residential. I felt like having a website gave me credibility. I was terrified of doing something like Yelp, and signing up for that. But understanding how reviews work and trying to get them, I wish that I had done that sooner because I think it helped add to that credibility of my business that had such a great reputation, but maybe didn't necessarily have that great reputation online.
I really like the way you put it because on the commercial side of things, your reputation can be built in an offline way. You do good
Mhm.
work, another property manager refers you to another one, or landlord refers you, and you can really build a solid book of business. But the residential side, where does a homeowner go to really know? Like they might ask for referrals and those things for sure. But when you look online, those reviews matter so much more. And the sooner you get started, those reviews compound over time. It's like, I wish I would have started putting stuff into my Roth IRA when I was 18 or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I did use a tool through SCORE, which is a Southern Arizona business building nonprofit, and they brought in a person from Google, and they had this free seminar at the library. And so I was like, I'm going to go to the library and learn at this free seminar. But he was from Google, and he taught me in very basic terms, or taught us all about SEO. And at that time, I didn't know what SEO was. I knew that I could Google for reviews myself, but how do I do that for my business? And what's an algorithm? And how, it's very overwhelming when you're trying to run a business and everything else. How do I maximize that end of things, SEO? And what I learned from there really helped me. And so once I had Housecall Pro and I heard about the Superpro program, the fact that the one of the benefits was being back-ended to Housecall Pro's website, and that SEO juice that you got, that was it. That was my number one selling point in being a super pro. And so I did learn, but I wish I had learned earlier all of these things about reviews and SEO and all that stuff.
Little tidbits and things. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're really passionate about one other feature just in Housecall Pro, and maybe it's sometimes underrated, or pros are like, I shouldn't use this, or I can't use this for my business, or my business operates differently, or I don't want to drive from one side of, the county to the other and let a customer decide. What's that feature that you think is underrated and pros should use?
I'm a firm believer in online booking. It absolutely grew my business. And it grew my business because referrals were so easy for people to give, especially within like Facebook groups and stuff like that. One house homeowner would refer my business on Facebook. I had my online booking widget on my Facebook page. And so they could easily go in and, if nothing else, find out what the base price might be to get their house cleaned, because sometimes we just want to know, is it going to be $200? Is it going to be $1,000? It makes a big difference. At least if I can find out without having someone come to my house, then I can book it. And I remember going on vacation and I was in Mexico and I was getting all of these online bookings, and I was like so excited because I was like, my business is growing and I'm on vacation. This is amazing. And there's so many people that are like, well, I have to do a walkthrough, or I paint cabinets. There's no way that someone could book online. Book your estimates online, put your appointments for estimates online for online booking. I literally could probably talk to anyone and find out a way for you to offer some part of your business through online booking. Handyman service here in Tucson, I talked to them and they're like, well, we have this wide range. I said, well, what's one thing that pretty much costs the same no matter what? And you do a lot of it. And they said, a faucet installation. I said, okay, what day do you typically have more availability? Monday mornings. Okay. You don't have to put your entire business online to be booked. Just put faucet installations on Mondays. And then the important part is to you can't just build it and they'll come. You need to put it on your social media. You need to put it on your website. You need to put it on your voicemail. There was a period, and I know some people this doesn't work for everyone, but for a while I stopped answering my phone and it only went to voicemail, because online or on my voicemail, people would hear, hey, you can book online. That was 90% of my phone calls, and I didn't have to take them. They went to the website. It answered all of their questions about what's included in a job, how long does it take, do we bring our own equipment? I tried to put everything in there, and then they booked it. And then they call back and go, never mind, I don't need you to call me back. I already booked online. And I'm like, it saved me so much time in my business and allowed me to answer more important calls, go and do other things. Online booking, just find a way to use it in your business. And if you're not sure, call me. I'll help you.
I mean, you dropped so many golden nuggets just in that little segment. One that I just really wanted to call out, which is like, just by having an online booking page doesn't mean that they're gonna come and it's gonna be booked online. You got to make sure your website's on your business cards. Make it a part of your voicemail. On my iPhone, I can send like a text if I can't answer a call. Change that default text to say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm on the roof, or I'm on the attic, or blah blah blah. Can you go to my website and book me online, or just put that online booking link? So there's so many different places where this thing can live, and if you start doing that over time, the people that want to book online, they will. And also the people that want to book online too, those are the types of customers they already know, hey, I'm on her page because I want to be on the page, and I'm probably going to book her. And yeah, that price looks good. And if they book, you don't have to haggle about price. You don't have to talk about, well, this is why we charge this much, or it's going to be this much. No, it's done. It's at a price. It's simple, convenient. People are booking because of the convenience of it.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was, if it was a Whiteboard Wednesday or something, but Brooks was on there and he talked about, stop thinking about online booking as like a blood oath. Okay. Just because someone books on this side of town, on this day, at this time, for this surface, does not mean you are going to get annihilated by this customer if you have to change it. Think of it as a red hot lead. Okay, that if you start small, start by offering one booking window on one day, and then build from there. The amazing thing about Housecall Pro is you have all of the control about adding or taking away those slots, who's available. You don't have to have all of your staff for online booking. And then, so I originally was doing 3 slots a day, and I was like, this is awesome. And I added 4 slots a day, and then I was like, whoa, that was too much. Things went downhill, and I had to dial it back. And so I was like, okay, this is my sweet spot. I don't have online booking on Friday afternoons because I don't want to throw some brand new client, at my staff that doesn't, they don't know what they're walking into at the last job before the weekend. There's those little nuances that you will find, but you have that control to add and take away. And worst case, you get a call from a client or you get an online booking job and it's just like, this isn't going to work. I call the client and I say, hey, you know what? I love that you booked online. That's awesome. Because of this, this, and this, it would be better for you and us to move this so that we have more time, or we have, because of
Or I've got
driving
the bud
distance.
dust cleaner available or
It's
whatever. You can
something,
spin it.
yeah, you
Yeah.
make it about them, and them being able to get the best service. And again, because people that book online, they want to use you, they like your price, they like what you're offering, and so you have the sale 90% done, or 100% done if they've already booked online. That slight change isn't going to be a big deal. I've also found that people that book online tend to be, they're not price shopping, or if they did, they're already done. They found out what the price is, but they're busy. They're busy professionals. I know now that because I'm so used to Housecall Pro, when I go to book a service, I'm like, oh, they don't have online booking. I don't know about this, but it says something to me. It's like my time is valuable. I don't want to spend a bunch of time on the phone talking to someone about getting my toilet fixed or whatever. So
Yeah.
you're gonna claim that higher end clientele.
Yeah, I really like how you're kind of indirectly saying online booking, you have to be customer centric and homeowner centric. And if this is what the client wants to do, allow them to do it. And I also really like that you said it's not like a blood oath, because a lot of people are like, well, we're rolling. Then they go from one side to the other side and it's going to completely destroy my schedule. And it's like, you can just call the customer and say, hey, I'm going to be in the area tomorrow and I can give you a 10% discount. They'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Not only do I book you online, but I get you sooner, or I get this, and so you can't
And
get
not only
caught
that,
in
but
the
if
part.
they lose it on you and they're like, well, if you can't honor this, then I'm not going to go with you. I'd be like, okay, because it sounds like I dodged a bullet. If I would never say that to the client, but like, if you're that unreasonable, if I've laid out all of these reasons why this is better and you're unreasonable and you're like, forget it, I'm done with this. As far as I'm concerned, you're a client that I don't want.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you got to
they can
fire the
weed them
customer.
out.
That's a really good. I mean, that's a great little barrier there that allows you to kind of suss out what you want to do.
Yeah, there
I
you go.
Yeah. Well, we've already gone way over. Do you have any like parting words, maybe for some other lady pros that are, either intimidated about the trades, or intimidated about getting started, or intimidated about going alone? Any words of wisdom that you can kind of put out there?
I would say that we have these tools available to us that make us look like we're $1,000,000. And for me, that made a difference. I wanted to look like I had an amazing business. And by using these tools, I don't use all of them. I don't use everything that Housecall Pro has. I feel like I use a tiny portion of it. But even just that little bit of tools that I've used has grown my business tenfold in a matter of a few years. It allowed me to be home with my kids more. It allowed me to run my business from my house. It allowed me to be independent. And so use those tools. Do the work. Use the tools. They'll grow your business for sure.
Those are good parting words. Thank you so much for being on the show, Melissa. It was a pleasure having you, and I love your enthusiasm about online booking. You're so right, and I just love hearing other people say exactly what I'm thinking, but in reverse. But for all the pros listening, we're gonna have another special guest on next week. We're gonna keep them coming. Thank you for tuning in, and thanks again, Melissa, for showing up today and giving us all your
Thank
wisdom.
you. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
The Superpro Podcast is brought to you by Housecall Pro, the leading platform for the home service industry. Housecall Pro streamlines your workflows and simplifies everything from scheduling and dispatching to communication and billing. Unlock the full potential of your home service business with Housecall Pro. Work smarter and more efficiently with streamlined workflows and detailed analytics. Win more business and serve your customers well, every single time. Join more than 40,000 home service pros who have already revolutionized their businesses. Work smarter with streamlined workflows, get organized with centralized information, and scale your business your way. Learn more at housecallpro.com.